Hi, I'm Camilla.
And I'm Kay, and we are
the FI Resellers, and we are still here, and the baby's not. So we have another What Sold video for you. We're just gonna keep trucking along until we can't anymore. So we are going to cut to our sales, and then we'll give you our numbers, and we'll give you an update on our investments, and we'll share a community BOLO. So our first sale is a pair of Rothy's, and I picked these up from the bins. They were in a bin that people had even already looked through and didn't pick these up. I guess people at our bins don't seem that interested in Rothy's for some reason. Kind of weird.
But also, these were a little damaged.
Yeah, they are a little bit damaged. You can see kind of on the toe that there's like fraying on the knit, basically. So on both of them, it looks like maybe the person who owned these before, their foot was maybe a little bit too big, or maybe they like to stub their toe. I'm not really sure. These sold on eBay. They paid a total of $74.65 for these. So this particular colorway and style is pretty rare in terms of, how many are listed online. So we had them listed a little bit higher, but then also because they are damaged, we were willing to accept some lower offers. So that's the reason why we ended up getting the amount that we did, just kind of the combination of all of those factors. But with Rothy's, it really depends on the style and, what color it's in and all of that. And, of course, the condition. That always matters with everything. But with Rothy's especially, certain colors and certain styles can, go for a ton of money.
We've been told that one of the ways to authenticate it is to look that it's made in China, not made in the USA. And to look at the stitching in the back is very clean. And what we have ended up doing is putting a little bit of tissue paper in there just to keep its form when it's shipping. It's not a whole lot, but we're going to be putting in a padded flat rate, so a little bit helps. We did have a question in our previous video about putting shoes in a padded flat rate. Now, if it fits, we do try to do it, and if it's made of cotton and other durable materials, we often put them in a padded flat rate, and we have not had any complaints yet. The thing is, it's padded just a little bit, and you can tell that the bubbles in these padded flat rates aren't, awesome, but they do a good job. As long as the buyer's happy, we're good. And at the end of the day, we haven't had any complaints yet, so we're going to continue to do it. We sold these Salvatore Ferragamo shoes. This is definitely a BOLO brand. You want to be on the lookout for this because this brand sells well. It's very well known for its shoes and leather goods. So these are leather shoes, so they're going to do well. And these actually had some toe scuffs, and I even put that in the listing, made sure the buyer knew about it. And the bottoms are in pretty decent shape. The buyer was in 95/40. And so in general, when you see things that are made in Italy, you should probably look them up. And when it comes to Salvatore Ferragamo in general, you definitely want to look it up. This is a great name brand. It's very high end, so be on the lookout, and let's go pack it up. So a little bit of craft paper on the bottom and a little bit on the top, and we are good to go.
So our next sale is this dress by Vince Camuto. And it's new tags. We got this from my sister-in-law. She sent me a couple dresses that she didn't want anymore, and this was one of them. It sold for $75 on Poshmark, which is amazing. So originally it cost, I think, like $168 is what the tag said. So this was a great sale. It's a more recent piece by Vince Camuto, one that you can buy from Nordstrom. And it seems to be kind of a popular style. I could see you wearing this to like a wedding as a guest, or to, cocktail parties, things like that. So I think that, it's a good style and all of that, and it's a recent style. A lot of Vince Camuto we don't pick up from the bins because a lot of it is older styles. Like, I feel like I associate the brand with like Chevron and things like that. Like, that's what we find at the bins. But since this was a more recent piece, when I looked up the exact comps for this style of dress, they had all different colors, and they were going for a good amount online, and this one was new tags. So, we look at everything that is new with tags, especially if it's a high price on the tag, because, often what people do, myself included, is I'm at the store, I see something, and then I look it up on Poshmark or on eBay to see if I can get it cheaper online. And, you know, there's a big difference between 168 and 75. So the person is probably thinking, if I can get, you know, a new dress that's never been worn for, you know, half price, I'll do that. And so that's what we were able to offer the buyer. So we'll get this packed up and send it out to its new home. So we decided to put it in just a bread bag that helps make it waterproof and, you know, pack it nicely. And then we put it in a Tyvek envelope, which we use pretty much exclusively for Poshmark. We like to ship, you know, dresses, skirts, things like that in these Tyvek envelopes because, you know, they're pretty easy. The Tyvek envelopes are water resistant, and so it could be, you know, that if we didn't put it in the plastic bag, it would probably still be okay. But for one, it's a little bit of presentation, and then for us, it's better safe than sorry. The plastic bag is like 3 cents, so we're happy to send it in that to make sure that the buyer gets a good experience with buying something from our closet.
This next one is one of our favorite men's brands to sell. It's Tailor Stitch. And if you've watched any of our videos in the past, you know that we love selling Tailor Stitch. This is a great brand to be on the lookout for. The buyer was in $74.65, and it's not really surprising that it sold for that much. This is the going rate for this brand. Originally, we had it listed for $80. We took an offer for $65 plus shipping, and this one is a great, very thick shirt, and it's actually made of hemp and cotton. So you'll see here that it's 55% hemp, which is really interesting. And so that ups the value a little bit because people like those organic materials. And so we're going to pack this up in a padded flat rate envelope. This is just a little over a pound, so we're going to put in a padded flat rate envelope, which is one of our favorites to do for over a pound. If it fits, then it's going to be easy. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to ship it out. All right, I've got a pretty fun one for y'all. We've got a 1984 repair manual for Toyota trucks, and this one sold for $40.08 is what the buyer was in. It's pretty beat up, and we disclosed all of this kind of junk. It's in pretty rough shape, and so we decided to take an offer. We originally posted it for $50, I think, and we took an offer for $35 plus shipping. I had gotten this from a church rummage sale, and I couldn't remember exactly where I heard that I should be looking up repair manuals, like really old ones, but it was just kind of in the back of my mind. You know, when you watch so many YouTube videos and see so many people selling these type of things, it kind of just stays in your brain. So we ended up getting this, and sure enough, it sold in a few weeks, and we're pretty happy. Now we're going to ship this media mail. Put it in our trusty old bread bag, and I found a box that I cut down. It's in pretty much perfect size. All I did was cut down the tops, and now we're going to fold it over. But overall, you should be on the lookout for really old manuals, especially, you know, in the 80s or older. They just don't make them anymore, and that kind of brings up the value. I think you all know that when it comes to vintage things and things of that nature, you should probably just be on the lookout and search it up, because there were a few other manuals that weren't priced as well. As always, you really don't need to know what it is, you just need to know how to look it up. So we're going to ship this out media mail, and we're going to go through pirate ship since this is over $40, and we're going to get insurance on it. One of our viewers told us that insurance on pirate ship is a little cheaper, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to see if I can pop up that comment. And we appreciate you giving us some feedback, and we are definitely going to do it because it does save us about $1. So, you know, it adds up. All right, just under 4 pounds, which is what we wanted by cutting down the box. And now I'm going to show you what's going to go for in pirate ship. So I've got it loaded here. You can do media mail on pirate ship. It's $5.08. We're going to pay the extra 75 cents, and it'll just be $5.83.
So here we have a pair of men's Lululemon Surge joggers, and we found these at Buffalo Exchange in Austin and picked them up for about $20. And we love selling men's Lululemon stuff. It seems to sell pretty well for us. And this was in a great size. It's a size XL, so even better. And so we accepted a $55 offer plus shipping. So really excited to send these out. It's not as much of a profit that we would make like if we had picked it up at the bins, but still a pretty good profit considering how much we paid and all that. Feeling pretty good about these and happy to get them out because we had been getting lots of low offers on them. So it feels good to not have to deal with that anymore too.
What we ended up doing, since this is 14 ounces, is use pirate ship instead of eBay's shipment option. Since pirate ship, we can do insurance for much less, and we're going to try this out.
Here we have a quilt, and you know that we love selling quilts. This was a great sale. This came from our sister-in-law. She found this quilt.
My sister, Camilla's sister-in-law.
Oh yeah, my sister-in-law, King's sister, who has her own reselling business. So she was at the bins and saw these quilts, and texted me, asked me if I wanted them, and I was like, yes, of course, obviously. So it's always great to have friends and family that can source for you and be there on days when you're not there, looking out for the stuff that you want to find.
Yep.
And this was a great sale. It sold in just about a day, and the buyer was all in $135.75 for this. I believe that this fabric here is feed sack fabric, and it's in pretty good condition. It has one tear and some stains, but other than that, it's
a lot of yellowing too. The yellowing happens to a lot of vintage items. It's a very natural thing with vintage items, so just be on the lookout. People still want this type of stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely a very old quilt, so I think that gives it value versus some other quilts. You can just kind of tell by the feel of it, by how worn in it is, how if it's newer, a lot of newer quilts kind of feel crisp. Same with, new clothes and things like that. Whereas the older ones will be really, really soft and kind of worn in.
This is definitely soft and worn in for sure. We called this a diamond. When you search up something like this, you really kind of just got to go by what you know. And these are diamonds, so you know that. And they have this kind of internal pattern here as well, this little star as well. So we call this a diamond star type pattern, and that's what we went by. We're going to pack this up and we'll show you the final result. So it's going in this large mailing box. We're going to cut it down just a little bit so that it's not bouncing around, so it can be at least a little tight for when it's being transported. So not a big deal, and it cuts on the weight just a little bit, so that helps us out a little bit as well. We've got it down to 4 pounds, and when you're shipping quilts, you can expect to go in a box at least 4 pounds. Usually we estimate about 5 pounds, really depending on the size of the quilts and all the materials that are being used.
This one is a smaller twin size. So if you have like a queen size quilt or even like a king size quilt, it will be over 5 pounds.
Oh, yeah,
closer to like 6, 7, 8 pounds maybe. So you want to weigh your items up before you ship them, especially in these bigger quilts, because they can be randomly way heavier than you think.
Right. So let's just take a quick look here. What we're going to do is, like I said, cut it down. But even with this box, it's about 4 pounds already. So it should be fine. So 4.04, we're going to get it down to 4 easily. So this sale was pretty interesting because these are mounts that you can mount to the wall that are for Thomas the Train. These are kind of sceneries that you can put little trains on and essentially have a showcase. And you can see that they're kind of beat up, but surprisingly enough, the buyer was in $53.75. So kind of crazy, but these are Thomas limited edition. All 3 of these are basically, they don't really make them anymore because they're limited. I had a feeling that they would go for about $30 plus shipping, and sure enough it did. The buyer paid $39 plus shipping. So let's pack these up. So I decided to go ahead and put it in a shoebox. We've got 2 pounds on this. I'm gonna cut it down. It'll be about 1.8 pounds. So pretty good overall. And then we're going to pad it a little more and it should get to the buyer just fine.
So here we have our next sale, and you know we love quilts, and this is one of our favorite patterns. It's Grandma's Flower Garden, and these, patches here, these are some feed sack fabric. I'm not sure if all of them are, but definitely some of them I recognize from other quilts that we've sold, and it was a great sale, so we are super excited to send this off. It's not in the best condition, it's got stains and it's got rips and things, but it's honestly so cool anyway that someone was willing to pay a good amount for it. So don't sleep on quilts, even ones that you think, oh, it's got some damage. So this had 2 really valuable things going for it. The first was this feed sack fabric, which is an older, type of fabric that is used and can be used to date an item, and it also is very unique. Like the patterns are very unique, so people seek them out. The second thing that's really valuable about this particular quilt is the pattern. This is a really sought after pattern, this Grandma's Flower Garden. So if you ever find a quilt that's in this pattern, it could be worth some good money. If you're interested in learning more about selling quilts, we have a whole video just about quilts and sourcing them and the different patterns and all of that. So if you just want to learn a little bit more, check out that video.
Generally, I use this kind of as a template, and I can already tell that if I fold this kind of in half there and half once more, then it'll be about right. And then this is not half. I'm gonna do 1/3 and 1/3, and it should be pretty good fit. And look at that.
Boom.
So what we're gonna do is saran wrap this one. All right, moment of truth. Ooh,
There we go.
look at that.
Nice.
We got 5 pounds on this too, and it's perfect.
Wow, can you believe that someone paid over $200 for that quilt? That is why we tell you, do not sleep on quilts. They can be big money, and that one wasn't even in like the best condition. So if you found one that was in really nice condition, I mean, you're looking at making bank.
Yeah, over 300, over 400 even.
And if you have anyone in your family who is a quilter and has these old quilts, make sure that you are preserving them, that you have them taken good care of so that they aren't in bad shape when you want to have them or pass them down or sell them. Whatever, you know, you end up doing with the quilts that you have in your family, protect them at all costs.
Yeah. And the funny thing about quilters is that they make more than just one quilt in most cases. And so, you know, choose the one that you want most, the ones that you love, the patterns, whatever, and then you should find someone else that loves them as much as the person who made it. So just think about that. You know, it's not all bad to sell them because you are trying to rehome something that someone put a lot of time and love and effort into, and it's so underrated. Quilts are so underrated, so that's why we say don't sleep on quilts. It's just something that we've learned to love to sell.
Okay, so we had a pretty good week this past week. We didn't sell a lot of items, so we only sold 45 items, but we had a gross revenue of $1,714.46, and our cost of goods for those 45 items was $146.79. On eBay, we sold 27 items for $800.32. On Poshmark, we sold 11 items for $191.53. On Facebook Marketplace, we sold 4 items for $52.31. On Mercari, we only sold 2 items for $23.18. So in total, our net profit was $1,065.96.
Pretty good.
So pretty good week, considering, you know, usually we sell closer to like 60 items, sometimes even 70 items. So we had a pretty good, you know, average profit per item, taken up a good amount by those 2 quilts that we sold. You know, that really raised our average profit per item.
So we gave my sister $20 for those 2 quilts. That's what she wanted. And we're actually just going to give her much more because we feel like it's kind of a consignment at this point where we were able to sell them so quickly for so much. It makes sense that we can provide her with a little bit more of a cut because she found such great quilts.
So with those 2 sales and some of our other sales, eBay hit it out of the park this week.
Yeah.
Like seriously, the majority of our sales came from eBay. You'll notice on Mercari that we only sold 2 items, which is lower than usual, but we did turn it off halfway through the week. We use Mercari QR code, so we have to go to the post office and wait in line. And we were kind of nervous about not being able to fulfill our orders with, you know, having to go to the hospital. We're not going to be stopping at the post office on the way there and waiting in line, you know, no way. So we turned on vacation mode, and we're going to probably keep it on vacation mode for the next couple months just to kind of lower the hassle level of our business. And because we'll probably be doing, you know, porch pickup from here until a little while
Yeah.
until we feel like we're ready to add that errand back into our life, to actually go to the post office each day.
Right.
Especially if I'm going to be home, most of the day with the baby. It's easy to do porch pickup. We're at home. We can keep an eye on whether people are stealing our packages or whether the postman is actually picking them up,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Did you know that was a USPS free service? In a lot of places, they'll do it for free. They'll pick up your packages from your porch. All you gotta do is sign into USPS, your account, and then tell them how many items there are, about what weight all those packages are in total, and it's usually pretty easy. We've tried it a few times in the past and it worked out pretty well. So now it's time for our segment on building wealth, and this is where we update you on the total stock market index experiment and we talk about building wealth. And here's how we're doing. We've talked about this. We said that there would be a bumpy road, and there still is a bumpy road ahead, so we're not sweating it. We're just going to continue to put money in. And what we usually do is put a little bit of our profits from our reselling into the total stock market index experiment. We put $53 from our Facebook profits. So again, we just do dollar cost averaging. It's basically putting in a little bit at a time.
Dollar cost averaging, what that means is investing over a time period, on a regular basis. And the reason it's called dollar cost averaging is that some points that cost, that buy cost is going to be high, and at other points it's going to be low, but overall it kind of averages out. So if you're investing on a regular basis, your cost ends up averaging over time because you are buying when it's high, you're buying when it's low, you're buying when it's medium, that sort of thing. So that's what that means when we say dollar cost averaging.
And last week we talked a little bit about how we've been investing for a pretty long time. I've been investing about 8 years and Camilla's been investing about 3 years. And so combined, we've got quite a bit of experience, with the ups and downs of the stock market. As far as stealing ourselves goes, it does take time, it does take experience. And this is part of the experiment where we show you exactly how it's going, even when it's down, even when we're down $1,000. We're not panicking, we're not selling.
And it's interesting to look at the difference between this account that we're showing you, this experiment that we're using our reselling profits on. We started that in August of 2021. And so the difference between this account and some of our older accounts, and seeing the way in which, because our other accounts are older, they aren't fluctuating quite as much. We aren't getting this total loss. We still have a total gain on those accounts because of their age. And so that's something to think about too, where this account that we're showing you is not even a year old yet. So really it's not at the point of long-term at all. It's still very much short-term. And so if you I don't know if we're going to continue this experiment year over year, but year over year, you'll see it kind of stabilize a little bit more.
And as always, this is not investing advice. This is just something that we want people to think about. We encourage you to look into investing, whether it's investing in the stock market or some other avenue, whatever you're interested in, we encourage you to look into it. And hopefully you're enthusiastic about it, you're passionate about it, so that you can be really energized to do research, to really get into it and, make a good future for yourself.
So now it's time for our community BOLO, and this one comes from Janelle over at River Vista Resale. And she sold this Nike tennis dress, and you would not believe for how much it sold for. She sold it for $112. And you're thinking, a Nike tennis dress, why would it sell for that much? And when she originally picked it up, she picked it up for $350 and thought, it'll sell for $25. Well, when she did the research, she found out that Serena Williams had worn this dress. And so she had a picture of Serena wearing the dress. And so that's why it sold for so much. So this is definitely a case in which you should look things up before you, put them online, maybe probably before you even buy things, because certain items in certain brands, if they're worn by celebrities or it's a well-known style or something like that, can go for a good amount of money. And this one might have even gone for more. There were other listings that, are even higher. So just something to be on the lookout for, because obviously Goodwill doesn't know about it. They're not looking at every single Nike dress thinking, oh, what athlete wore this one, or things like that. So this is definitely a place where you can, make some good money, because it's not going to be necessarily priced up at the thrift store. And, this is where people really want that specific item. So thank you so much, Janelle, for sending that in. What a great BOLO. And you should definitely consider following her on Instagram. She's one of our kind of original followers. We love chatting with her on Instagram and seeing her posts. So you should definitely consider giving her a follow and tell her that we sent you. So thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a comment down below how your sales are going this week. How is the beginning of June going for you? We want to hear all about it down in the comments. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that this is a good video and that it should show it to more people, which is great. We would love to have our videos seen by as many people as possible. And if you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing. We would love to have you as part of our YouTube community.
Yeah, keep that passion burning, y'all. We are in the middle of summer. Hopefully this baby comes. There's a lot of transition going on. But regardless of what is happening to your summer or your sales, we hope that you're positive. We just keep listing, all of that. We're going to do what we're doing, obviously, and we hope that you're doing well, and we are really rooting for you. We'll see you later.
Bye.
I feel like you got to build up to the number. You know what?
Don't micromanage me.
I am macro managing you. I'm trying to
No, you're micromanaging
I'm trying to manage this
me.
whole video.
You're trying to tell me what I should say. If you want it to be scripted, just script it.
Macro managing.